My name is David Kirschman, and I am the CEO of Orthomod. So, we all know about the importance of orthopedics. We all know about the importance of orthopedic implants. As a matter of fact, 1 in 2 Americans have a diagnosable musculoskeletal condition. 10,000 orthopedic implants are placed in bodies every day in the United States. And over 7% of Americans over 50 have an orthopedic implant. There might even be a few people in this room that do. And that number is growing rapidly as we have an aging population and people want to stay active longer. This is a huge market. We're all very familiar with the size of the global orthopedic market, somewhere in the $47 billion range, and growing at about a 5% CAGR. Submarkets, verticals of joint, spine, craniomaxillofacial, dental, and trauma are also significant verticals in this space. There's 2 basic functions of orthopedic implants. Okay, well, what do they do? Well, there's fixation, which basically holds bones together, and there's fusion, which heals bones together. Okay, so you have stuff that supports bones, stuff that heals bones, and they're different. So these are 2 different categories of products. So you have structural materials like titanium and PEEK on one side that support the skeleton, and then you have fusion products like bone substitutes, including calcium sulfate, calcium phosphates, bioglass. You have one side of the coin, which is load-bearing. You have the other side of the bone, which is bone healing or osteoactive, which basically means promoting bone healing. And with this duality, you have a problem because you're using multiple implants in procedures. This increases costs, it increases complexity, increases inefficiency, even creates poor outcomes. And right now, for instance, in the spine market, we have a duopoly of 2 choices. Out of this entire industry, there's 2 choices, PEEK and titanium, PEEK polymer and titanium. The joke is there's 3 choices for materials. There's PEEK, there's titanium, and then there's PEEK mixed with titanium. And that's basically what it is. So what is the missing link? And this was our mission. How do we cross this bridge and create a new type of implant that does both, that is fully structural and functions as an osteoactive bone substitute? How can we do that and break this duopoly? A little bit about me. I was a neurosurgeon, a spine surgeon in a former life. I've been, through 4 companies now and 4 successful exits over the last 20 years. Worked with a great team of operational experts, of scientific experts, and clinical experts that are really driving us forward and really exciting. So this new solution needs a new material. And what is that new material? It's called CAMP, calcium acrylic modified polymer. It's an all-new orthopedic biomaterial. It's permanent, it's synthetic, and it will be an alternative to PEEK and titanium for the first time in about 20 years. It combines the osteoactive properties for fusion and the mechanical properties of fixation. We've undergone extensive testing and will have first in human by the end of this year. And this will be the first in spine. This will be the first new structural spinal biomaterial in over 2 decades. Why has nobody done this before? Well, very few materials can withstand FDA requirements. For instance, in spine, greater than 5 million cycles of greater than 5,000 newtons without failure. Well, there's not a lot of materials that can do that. Hence, only titanium and PEEK. Well, we were able to do that. This material has high compressive strength, actually exceeding the market leader of PEEK. It has microporosity, it has long-term biocompatibility, and low-cost rapid manufacturing, much cheaper than PEEK and titanium. It's ideal for patient-specific applications, and we use a rapid molding technique where the product is actually injection molded into individual disposable molds, which are 3D printed. And this makes the amount of and variety of implants we can make practically limitless. Does it heal bone? There's the mechanical side. Well, what about the biologic side? Absolutely. We just presented this data actually about 3 weeks ago at the ORS, the Orthopedic Research Society, showing superior fusion with our product compared to PEEK and titanium. You can see the high level of bone growth around and within the implant. This is a 12-week sheep study that was done down in Australia. And you can also see the staining on the calcium-containing areas of the implant. In these micrographs, you can see extensive bony ingrowth into the surface of the implant, which you will never see in the other materials. You also see strong osteoblastic activity around the implant, but no inflammation. There's no inflammatory cells, lymphocytes, white blood cells, PMNs that have come in. The microporosity is visible on electron microscopy. This allows for the diffusion of cytokines and BMPs compared to PEEK and titanium, and can also be used for drug release. Excellent radiographic visualization and multiple applications: sports medicine, bone void filling, surface modification of surface modified drug implants, drug delivery, and even can be co-implanted with PEEK if that's your game. Very strong competitive benefits over our competitors. Promoting bone healing, visible on X-ray, high cyclical loading capability, very similar modulus to cortical bone, microporous, low cost, and it looks and feels like bone. And I actually have some samples with me if you'd like to see it. And you know, it kind of looks and feels like bone, unlike a piece of plastic or a piece of metal. We have very extensive intellectual property around the material itself, around the manufacturing process, and around the implants themselves. Our technology roadmap, we've already completed many significant milestones and de-risked this. We've completed ISO 10993 chemical characterization, genotoxicity, cytotoxicity, animal studies, as well as mechanical studies, all the way to packaging, aging, and sterilization in preparation for marketing. We are looking to do 2 510Ks this year. One for the cervical spine indication, the other one for craniomaxillofacial indications. And then after that, a production ramp up, and then adding the additional verticals, the lumbar spine, the suture anchors, and also dental, which is a very exciting market for this material. Our funding roadmap, we've right now got about $3.5 million in the company. We're looking to raise a Series A of $5 to $7 million to support our initial launch and clinical experience for the first 2 products, and then looking for a larger round thereafter, bridging to a strategic exit. The strategics already have a significant amount of interest in this material. They can see the benefits of the competitive benefits of finally bringing in new material. So why Orthomod? As we conclude, this is a disruptive technology. This is a very definition of disruptive. It is the first new structural biomaterial in orthopedics in over 2 decades. It is addressing critical needs of healing, of cost, and complexity. And key de-risking validations and technology validations have been completed. And the platform technology is scalable over multiple sub-markets and verticals in orthopedics. We've got a strong team with a history of successful outcomes for investors and stakeholders. This is a large and rapidly growing industry. We're uniquely positioned to improve patient outcomes, surgical experience, and reduce costs, and multiple strategic options for exits and collaboration. So with that, I'll conclude, and I'll be here if anybody has any questions or wants to see some of these implants themselves.